Celta de Vigo are a side that has faced relegation in recent seasons, but the more important talking point heading into the match is that Barça had not won at the Estadio Municipal de Balaidos in 6 matches. If there is one thing to know about Galicia, it is that it rains a lot, and today was no different. Celta de Vigo aren't usually an ugly team to watch, but matches in these conditions are only going to go one way. But before we get to the match, I just want to hit on the other talking points of the day because Barça-Celta was only the third act of what was a day full of Blaugrana news. First and foremost, today I finally get to celebrate Sergiño Dest coming to Barcelona. There were other options, like Max Aarons at Norwich City, but as far as teenage right-backs go, Dest is in the top 5 in the world in terms of potential. He will make mistakes, he has a long way to go defensively, and learning Barca's style is no easy feat. But as far as attacking prowess goes, Culés are going to love what he does. Contrarians will say that Nelson Semedo was a great dribbler at Benfica, and Junior Firpo was a tremendous overlapping fullback at Real Betis, and look at what happened to them. But the difference is that they flourish in certain systems. Dest, meanwhile, may individually struggle, but he also has the greatest 1v1 ability of the 3. He's just a very different kind of player than those two. Koeman has said that he wants to use the same players, so he may have a difficult time breaking through, but the talent is there. The other big news of the day was the Champions League draw. I think the quick knee-jerk reaction to it being a group of death was rightly dismissed, as Barcelona should expect to be better than Juventus, Dynamo Kyiv, and Ferencváros. Dynamo and Ferencváros will mean challenging travel and potential nasty weather, but these are professionals who get to come home to Barcelona, so that won't be much of an excuse. Juventus, meanwhile, does have the tantalizing storylines with Ronaldo and Artur, and new manager Pirlo is going to be dealing with Juve's most difficult Serie A title test in 10 years with Inter Milan. That doesn't make them in any way a lesser side, but this isn't Bayern Munich, let's put it that way. But back to the match at hand, the lineup was unchanged from the team that beat Villarreal. Neto, Alba, Lenglet, Piqué, Roberto at the back, De Jong and Busquets the double pivot, Fati, Coutinho, Griezmann the 3, and Messi up top as the false 9. Tactically, there was one question mark coming in, and that was if Celta would play 4 or 5 at the back. And Alfred Schroeder spoke before the match and said the players were briefed for both situations, as any coach would do. It was Setien's inability, though, to crack the code against 5 at the back, and those dropped points were the difference between first and second in the Liga. Now, due to the weather, it took this match a little bit to find its rhythm. Some Barca possession, but nothing to it. The first real moment of Barca's superiority came in the 9th minute, and telling that it comes after losing possession and giving the press a first real go. Eventually, the ball was won back. And winning the ball back is how the first goal was scored. With Rakitic and Vidal gone, I get the sense that Busquets will be the whipping boy on social media, alongside the usual Roberto, Griezmann, Alba, and Coutinho hate. But he's still Sergio Busquets, and he showed you that in this match. It's a lot easier for Busquets to bounce back from a bad performance than it was Vidal, because Busquets just has to play like Busquets, and Vidal had to somehow morph into a different player. Anyway, the first goal happens because Busquets and De Jong, with a few one-touch passes, are able to win back the ball and keep possession right at the Celta box. And then, there was Fati. Third goal in 2 matches. You know, a little look behind the curtain, Francesca and I were debating this week as to how long our discussion about Fati on this week's podcast would be relevant, and I think it may be relevant for a while, even as the stats continue to get updated. Fati now with 10 goals from his first 15 shots on target in his Liga career. Incredible. He strikes with such precision, and his decision-making seems to get better as he nears the goal. I could make this whole video about Fati, but you can just revisit the one I made a few weeks ago about what the expectations for this season should have been, and notice how he's already harpooning all my conservative predictions. After the goal, Barca seemed to start to succumb to the malaise of being in front, plus the difficulty of the weather, and Celta did start to get their chances on the counterattack. That said, Barca's press was giving Celta some fits. It's not always just about Barca. Celta were trying to figure out the visitors. In the 30th minute, Iago Aspas dropped a bit deep to try to receive the ball, pulling a Messi, honestly. But that didn't last long, and Celta got some opportunities when they were able to get the ball to Aspas in 1v1 showdowns with Alba and Lenglet. And this is where we see the pros and cons of Koeman's changes to Barcelona. The big pro is that the team looks so much more balanced this season. He came alive more in the second half, but I want to see in a few more weeks if Messi's averaging less touches on the ball this season than recent years. But I'm not saying that Messi getting less touches is a bad thing either. Getting rid of the unnecessary touches he had to take when dropping to receive and replacing them with productive movement from other players provided the team with the balance they've been missing. But not to immediately contradict myself, the balance in pressing and defending is not the same in possession. The right side with Griezmann and Roberto continue to stay at home. By the 40th minute, Barca had attacked 5 times down the left, 7 times through the middle, and just once on the right. If not for Griezmann misplaying a wonderful ball from De Jong that he should have scored, he wouldn't have been heard from until he was subbed off. I will continue to defend the fact that to keep the balance that allows Alba and Fati to push forward all the time, the right side needs to help shift the defense and provide cover. But that still leaves Lenglet susceptible to needing to shut down counterattacks in behind Alba. And that is exactly what caused the issue of the second yellow. Stuck on an island, Lenglet committed a soft foul, an easier first yellow, but it was a second yellow, so a red card and his marching orders. PK hadn't been good up to that point. He had a red card of his own overturned due to an offsides call, so it felt like a matter of time. This meant Ronald Araujo for Griezmann, which was the right choice with how influential Fati had been. It was a frustrating end of the day for Griezmann, but I like that Koeman made the proper decision in that situation. Araujo also needed the 45 minutes because Lenglet will be out at Sevilla on Sunday. For all of Barca's centre-back woes though, Celta had already lost 2 centre-backs of their own to injuries by the start of the second half, though they did have an additional player. That didn't seem to matter much to Barca because Messi was much brighter to start the second half. Just 6 minutes in, Messi worked with Coutinho about 30 yards from goal with some one-touch passing and got himself out wide. And once it's Messi with one defender, even from that angle, you're done. It went down as an own goal for Olaza, which is still a goal, but Messi was unlucky not to break his streak of not scoring against Celta in 5 matches. Coutinho was given the man of the match again, not just for his involvement in the second goal, but he once again played his natural position with the aggression and purpose that Culés have never seen from him in the Blaugrana shirt. Great to see. We all did think that Messi's scoreless versus Celta streak would end in the 59th minute, but Messi was called offside. Not sure about that, but I'm less upset about it because Barca were up 2-0 at that point. And the great thing about the 4-2-3-1 is that it almost seamlessly transitioned to a 4-4-1. This made the squad prone to passing from the Celta centre-backs through the middle, but as I said already, Oscar Garcia was without 2 of his better ball-playing centre-backs. And more importantly, Frankie de Jong was awesome in this match. 10 for 10. Barely put a step wrong in the match, and his movement in that second half when Barca were down a man is why Celta were not able to break anything through the middle of the field. And the remainder of the game was a bit of a dogfight as the weather somehow got even worse. Almost a reminder of why I'm not worried about Barca needing to play in Kyiv or Budapest in the Champions League, particularly if fans are not back in full voice in those stadiums. Yet, even in the dogfight, Koeman made everybody happy by still bringing in Trincao and Pedri, despite the fact that Barca were missing a man and only up 2-0. Barca were up and these youngsters are going to need to cut their teeth in these kinds of situations so you can trust them later. They did more defending than you like, but their speed meant that Celta had to honor the counterattacks. And when you have youth that just want to get on the score sheet, and you have Messi that wants to get on the score sheet, good things happen. Still attacking in the final minute of the game, Messi scorched 2 Celta defenders to get to the goal line. De Jong had second thoughts about the bounce, but Roberto didn't, reminding you that he does help out offensively occasionally. And since I'm ruffling feathers with my praise of Roberto, his and Neto's defensive contributions helped seal the 3 points, which are still the most important thing from that match. We can always talk about who didn't play. There was one winger position missing for Dembele to step into, but he also could have been behind Trincao because of the transfer business. I still don't see how this team needs Memphis Depay, but anyway, we'll move on. Puig will continue to be a talking point until we see him, but we didn't see Carlos Alenya either. And we also didn't see Pjanic, so maybe we should believe Koeman when he said that there won't be enough minutes. Does that mean that Busquets is going to play in times when Culés think he shouldn't? Yeah, probably, but if results are coming, it'll be hard to complain. Messi didn't get on the score sheet, but Barca finally won in Galicia, and that's 6 points from 2 matches. I'll continue to pose the same question. What if Barca are a good team capable of title contending performances, regardless of all the chaos off the field? That question may come up again on Sunday against Sevilla. In the meantime, please give this video a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit that bell for notifications. And until next time, Forza Barça.